fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Are you rich or are you poor? Which side of the fence are you on? Rich or poor? What's your prosperity look like? Hey everybody, Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again, Salt Strong Unchurched. I want to start this podcast off by reading an article that was written a little while ago here in January, and it's by a millennial, and it's one of the hardest hitting articles I've ever read on prosperity and what we're dealing with in terms of an overall mindset of are we rich or are we poor? Do we feel prosperous? So let me dig in. This article, real quick, was written by a 26-year-old college student. Her name is Alyssa, and she is in grad school for her MBA. Here it goes. My generation is blind to the prosperity around us. I'm sitting in a small coffee shop near Nokomis, Florida, trying to think of what to write about. I scroll through my news feed on my phone, looking at the latest headlines of presidential candidates calling for policies to fix the so-called injustices of capitalism. I put my phone down and continue to look around. What I see people talking freely, working on their expensive MacBooks, and ordering food they get in an instant. I'm seeing cars go by outside, and it dawned on me, we live in the most privileged time, in the most prosperous nation, and we've become completely blind to it. Vehicles, food, technology, freedom to associate with whom we choose. These things are so ingrained in our American way of life, we don't even give them a second thought. We are so well off here in the United States that our poverty line begins 31 times above the global average. 31 times. Virtually no one in the United States is considered poor by global standards. Yet, in a time where we can order a product off Amazon with one click and have it at our doorstep the very next day, we are unappreciative, unsatisfied, and ungrateful. Our unappreciation is evident as the popularity of socialist policies among my generation continues to go. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez recently said to Newsweek, talking about the millennial generation, quote, an entire generation, which is now becoming one of the largest electorates in America, came of age and never saw American prosperity. I'm going to read that to you. This is from Alexandria, quote, an entire generation, which is now becoming one of the largest electorates in America, came of age and never saw American prosperity. Never saw American prosperity? Let that sink in. When I first read that statement, I thought to myself, that was quite literally the most entitled and factually illiterate thing I've ever heard in my 26 years on this earth. And many young people agree with her, which is entirely misguided. My generation is being indoctrinated by a mainstream narrative to actually believe we have never seen prosperity. I know this firsthand. I went to college, and let's just say I didn't have the popular opinion because I completely disagree. Why then, with all the overwhelming evidence around us, evidence that I can see sitting at a coffee shop, do we not view this as prosperity? We have people who are dying to get in our country right now. People around the world destitute and truly impoverished. Yet we have a young generation convinced they've never seen prosperity. And as a result, we elect some politicians who are dead set on taking steps towards abolishing capitalism. Why? The answer is this. My generation has only seen prosperity. We have no contrast. We didn't live in the Great Depression. We didn't live through 2 world wars, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and we didn't see the rise and fall of socialism or communism. We don't know what it's like to live without the internet. We don't know what it's like to live without cars and without smartphones. We don't have a prosperity problem. We have an entitlement problem, an ungratefulness problem, and it's spreading like a plague. Boom. Drop the mic. Isn't that crazy? But here's where this goes a little bit further. I disagree with her that it's just the millennials. This is all of us. And we're all guilty, and a lot of it is because of media, and in particular social media, and when we compare ourselves to others, and it's easy to get in a rut and to think, oh man, look how much they have, and look at their new nice car, new house, boat, whatever it is. I get it, because I think we're all wired that way. I've done that myself, but at the same point, this is such a good reminder. Oh my gosh, think about what people are going through in other countries, especially like if you're Christian and you're listening to this. Like Christians in general worldwide are some of the most persecuted people out there. There's people who are having to go underground and having to hide Bibles and stash them. They would literally get killed, and people are getting killed every single week just because they are Christian. And yet we're able to go to church or to worship online. We're able to talk with who we want to, and even voice our opinions that may or may, be against the grain or against what, the government is telling us, etc. Go back to the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims came here with nothing but Bibles and chicken and a burning desire to fight for freedom and to have prosperity. And we got it. We have it better than anyone. And yet we're sitting here thinking that we're poor and impoverished, and things are just so tough, and everyone else has more, and we need to take from other people and get more to make ourselves feel better. This just drives me crazy. And when I read this, it hit just so hard about the prosperity problem. And she nailed it. A 26-year-old just completely has just perfect vision on this. It's not a prosperity problem. It's an entitlement problem and an ungratefulness problem. And here's 3 things I'll challenge you with, because I'm going to challenge myself. Stop comparing yourself to others. I think that's one of the biggest issues. And, Alyssa here mentioned it. This is an entire generation who's only had smartphones. They've literally been raised since high school that social media is where you go to look at stuff and to talk to people and interact. And with social media, you're only seeing one version of those people. We all do it, right? You're not showing your bad days and the bad hair days and the days when just nothing's working. You usually post your best stuff on social media for the most part. And that's what people are comparing themselves to, thinking that, oh man, everyone else is perfect and everyone else says all this nice stuff and perfect dates and perfect spouses and perfect kids and all this stuff is just so nice. Stop comparing yourself to others. Number 2 is to be grateful. This is a mindset issue more than anything else. There are people, I went to Africa and spent 14 days there in Kampala, and that's in Uganda, and I was blown away with how little these people had. I'm talking like no roof over their head minus a little tent, and that was being nice. And behind them was their one cow that provided a lot of their food, and eventually they had to kill it and chop the thing up. They had nothing, and yet these people felt prosperous. They felt wealthy. They had a community of people that they could turn to and they liked and they could trust them. And they thought they were prosperous just because they could have their own little church services. Think about that. And they had nothing. I'm talking no shoes, nothing. They had 1 or 2 pairs of clothes and a cow and a tent. And they felt rich. And here we are with all the stuff. This girl nailed it. The ability to get anything we want with a click of a button. And the ability to get credit to do it. Half the people in this country don't even have any money, and yet they have hundreds of thousands of dollars of stuff just on credit. That's crazy to think you're not prosperous or not rich with everything we have here. So going back to number 2, just be grateful for everything you have. This is a mindset issue. It is just as easy to wake up and say, man, I am rich today. I am feeling grateful. I am feeling prosperous. And it's just as easy to say, man, I'm poor and compare myself to everybody else and say, I got nothing and I just need to have more to be happier, which, by the way, doesn't work. The third one is to start praising God for everything you have. Praise God for everything you have. That is one of the best ways to feel prosperous. And I mentioned the grateful word too, and just be generous. What I found, and this has been super tough, it's been a challenge for me, is the more I give away and the more my wife Lauren and I have given away and have trusted God and gone out on a limb, the more we get back. And I'm not talking about just money. I'm just talking about the overall feeling of prosperity. So I would challenge you, 1, to stop comparing yourself to others. 2, be grateful to everything you have, and then praise God for everything you have and be generous with it. you will see a new type of riches come your way, and I promise you, you will never feel poor. Hope this helps. Just wanted to share this. This article came across my desk, and it was just too good not to share. Alyssa, don't know who you are, but well said. I would love to hear more of your thoughts, but then again, I think you completely nailed it and wrapped it up in this one pager. So let me know what you think, guys. You know my email, joe@saltstrong.com, Joe at saltstrong.com. I read every message that comes in. Can't always get back right away, or sometimes not at all, but I always read every single one, and I really, really appreciate everything. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps us out big time. We don't run any ads on this, and we've had a lot of offers to do so, and I just don't like podcast with a ton of ads on it. So I keep it ad free, but all I ask in return is that you share this with someone who you think might need to hear it, who maybe is feeling a little bit poor right now. Because I don't know if you've got the whole conclusion, but you're rich. We're all rich. Anyone here listening to this, anyone who has the ability to listen to a podcast, probably means they have a phone or a computer. You are completely, absolutely 100% rich. So please, please, please share this with someone who might not be feeling that way right now and maybe just needs a little bit of a mindset shift. And then finally, of course, subscribe and leave a review. That helps out big time for us to be found so that more people get to hear these great messages. I appreciate you. Much love from myself and the entire Salt Strong family. I am out, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul.